Hey everybody, I'm Caitlin with Dive News Desk, and I'm here with Shruti Patel at U.S. Bank, and I'm going to be asking her some questions here at Money 2020. Hey Shruti, thanks for your time.
Hi, Caitlin.
Well, I wanted to ask you how the bank works to stay on top of what customers want and ahead of competition. I know you're focused on products in the business banking segment.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me here at Money 2020. Quite excited to see the energy and the buzz. I would say we do a bunch of stuff across the board. We serve 1.5 million small business customers across the country. They range up to 50 million in annual revenues. And so, they're doing complex jobs to very simple jobs depending on the size of the segment. And one of the things we are trying earnestly is how do we bring very integrated experiences within our online banking and our mobile app, which serves them across banking, payments, and software. We do this through focus groups. We do an annual small business survey each year. This was our third year in the survey. I think you covered us earlier in the year in terms of some of the findings. And more small businesses are really looking at their banks to give them a one-stop shop for software. Some of the top jobs to be done are account payables, account receivables, payroll, accounting, sync, cash flow management, and access to capital. And so we keep these jobs to be done in our minds as we're thinking about product development cycles, as we are thinking about integrated experiences across our merchant acquiring business, as well as our banking, money movement, and treasury solutions. And so that's really the way we're keeping ahead of innovation. Hopefully our customers notice it, and we've seen some really great engagement with recent releases.
Cool, okay. Well, you mentioned some product rollouts, and I was curious to ask you about how U.S. Bank thinks about fintech partnerships, or just you in particular. You guys have turned to Melio, Gusto for some recent partnerships. So how do you think about bank fintech partnerships? Like, what is the bank's role within those?
We are really looking to partner with best-in-class fintech companies. Going back to what are some of the customer pain points we're trying to solve. Keeping that in mind, we have had a really good view of the ecosystem and the fintechs who are actually doing some of these jobs to be done from a really sophisticated, enhanced customer experience perspective and product perspective. So with that said, you may have realized with all of the releases we had recently, we acquired Bento Spend Management a few years ago. And that is a great value proposition for our small business card customers. It gives them the ability to control their spend, monitor category spends, delegate to employees. And so we went live with spend management, coupling it with our small business card offering. And then we looked across the ecosystem to see, look, accounts payables, accounts receivables, and embedded payroll are very top of mind for us, and that's what we're hearing from our small business customers. We were looking for mission-driven companies, and we aligned from a values and principles perspective with both Melio and Gusto across how they are thinking about serving the small business customers. And so they gave us, acceleration to market, speed of delivery. We were able to build very quickly on their tech stacks while customizing the solution for our segment. But that got us a lot of leverage, and they in turn are benefiting from the scale and distribution U.S. Bank brings to their ecosystem in return.
Yeah, okay, cool. I was curious to get your thoughts, especially at this conference where AI is such a big topic. How do you think about the role of AI and personalization in the product roadmap?
Yeah, that's a great question. We hear a lot from our small business customers in terms of how they would like to leverage AI, and some of the top things we're hearing from them is how can they better serve their customers, either through customized marketing, personalization, fraud monitoring tools, But also in addition to that, how can we better serve our customers, whether that's through back office operations, our contact centers. We have Talik, which is a point of sale system, which is coupled with our merchant acquiring L1 business. And one of the things we're exploring is how do we think about leveraging AI to help them manage Talik more effectively, back office, invoicing, billing, and also just really simple, quick personalization for the small businesses to be able to interact with the software really easily.
Yeah. I was also curious if you could speak to how you balance, the desire for speed and innovation with like the regulatory compliance and sort of risk concerns. Those two sides of the coin, I guess. So how do you think about that, and how do you balance, those two needs?
Yeah, I will say there are certain simple principles we employ as we think about product development and speed to market. We are very well aware of the regulatory landscape, and so as we are working with fintechs, we want to make sure that they fit within the regulatory framework. It just gets them easier access to the bank systems and the infrastructure, and how we think about leveraging their APIs within the embedded landscape. We also, start our planning and our customer experience journey mapping very early in the process. And so as we are working with a lot of these newer companies, or even as we're thinking about proprietary product build, keeping the customer journey in mind, and really, I would say jump-starting the planning process before even sometimes the commercials are done, or our vendor management processes kick in, or as we think about regulatory, gives you a lot of time to really make sure that you're going to market in a much more effective and efficient way.
Yeah, okay. I know you guys have had a lot of products come out this year, a lot of new launches, things like that. Anything that you can talk about that might be forthcoming, or I don't know, anything else that you guys are still thinking about or kind of like working to improve for customers?
I would say we're keeping a very, very close lens on what are all of the integrated experiences we want to bring within the banking ecosystem. So like I mentioned, spend management, we went live with our accounts payables, our cash flow central capability with Melio Fiserv partnership. That is enabling our customers to effectively pay their bills. We have recurring payments, partial payments. We're going to give them access to payment due dates so that they can manage their cash flow really effectively in the back office. We also went live with embedded payroll, which was one of the jobs we heard very loudly from our small businesses. They want to pay a bill, whether it's a vendor or they want to pay an employee, and they want all of the sophistication of the money movement capabilities we have within online banking. And so now with both bill pay in market, payroll in market, our cash flow management tools in market, we're figuring out what's next. Do they care about accounting and essentially helping them manage their ledger? Do they care about accounts receivables? And so with that from that perspective, we're going to start thinking about what are some of those newer integrated experiences to bring a more holistic offering.
Okay, cool. As far as the conference, what do you come here for? Are you guys looking to strike new fintech partnerships, or is it about networking, or just curious, why you come to a conference like this and what you hope to get out of it?
So one of the main reasons why I come here, and as I mentioned, is just the energy.
Yeah.
But we're constantly keeping an eye on new innovations. And so the conference gives us a ton of ability to meet new fintechs, new startups. And this is just not in financial services. We're also looking at fraud monitoring and detection tools. We're thinking about personalization. We think about our journeys all the time, our digital journeys, and how can we partner with companies which can help us with seamless digital journeys. And so Money 2020 gives us a great venue to meet some of our partners, our existing, but also new companies and new innovation, and listen into some of the sessions our peer banks or our peer partners are engaging with in terms of what's next. I'm sure, last year and the year before it was all about AI. And this year there's AI, but there's also digital currencies and all about tokenized deposits and stable coins. And so that's very, front and center right now as we think about leveraging those.
Yeah. Can you say what the most striking thing you've heard at the conference is, or anything that really stuck out to you?
I would say the opportunity around stable coins. I was listening to one of the keynote sessions earlier today, and Gunjan, our CEO, spoke in that session, and she quite elegantly put it. It's not a question of when, it's a question of how.
Yeah.
With respect to digital currencies and the use cases around stable coins and tokenized, whether it's our custodies business, our trust businesses, how do consumers think about stable coins and money movement? And so I think coming into the conference, I kept thinking whether this is a hype, but I think just listening to some of the sessions, I don't think it's a hype. I do think that very quickly we will figure out how to get some of this implemented.
Yeah. Do you see any stablecoin use case for small business customers, or we have maybe some time to figure that out, or?
I would say we're very early, a lot of exploration. We haven't heard concrete use cases just yet. We do hear a lot about money movement, but outside of money movement, very, very early.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for your time, Shruti. It was great to talk with you. I'm Caitlin. Thanks again.